Welcome back to another reading and correcting of Shattered Salvation. With me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Today, we are doing chapter. Tristan brushed the dust off his fur as the ringing in his ear subsided. Knelt back. He knelt back. He knelt by the old man and checked him again. Changed and registered. Tristan stood and faced Alex. Well, Alex leaned into the lift opening and looked down. I can't see anything, but all I hear are falling rocks. I'd say that grenade brought down half the ceiling. They'll all be dead. And? Tristan asked. Alex's back was covered with burns and blood. Turned and gave him a what? Just killed close to 100 people with that grenade. How do you feel about it? What does it matter? Stone was confused and saw the emotion in his eyes. Regret, anger, but they were mute. He was human, like the training Tristan gotten growing up. This might be the best he could hope for. Still, he'd done what he had to, survived, and he wasn't hating himself for it. Those were the important. He looked around the room at the bodies, at the blood. Had died from knife, Alex's preferred weapon. Only two had been shot, the woman who'd been interested in him, and the man by the exit. He shook his head in a mix of annoyance and pride. He tried to break Alex out of depending on his knives when he decided to keep him alive. Knives had their use, but shouldn't be the first weapon he reached for. He should be killing his opponent at a distance, before they even knew they were under attack. A good gun in skilled hands could have taken down all 7 of the people in this room, or they'd had time to react. But Alex's skill with knives was impressive. Time and time again, Tristan had watched him take down groups that should have destroyed him. Not only was he a master with blades, but he had an ability to avoid getting hit, and when he couldn't, to endure the pain. If Tristan had believed in the gods of his world, he could think that human was by them. Shouldn't have doubted him. What? Alex asked. I don't like your face. It was a lie. He didn't care about it one way or the other, but it was credible, and it meant he didn't have to mention that what seeing Alex among the carnage he'd wrought, covered in his enemy's blood, made Tristan feel. How is the cleaning coming along? Alex went back to the large case with one screen and seemed to be missing half of the command key. I accessed the database before wiping it. Sure. They didn't enter you in it because they never believed my story. Just raised an eyebrow. The Sayatoga still has you as their prisoner, and the warden thought that more believable than bringing you here in shackles. Like a young bounty hunter, capture me. Did they believe you were who you claimed to be? Alex shrugged. The warden didn't. Saw through this face. Next time we need to use better. He indicated canisters by the entrance. I brought the most powerful DNA dissolver I could find. We need evidence here once. Did that everywhere, and not much of them left either. Not much left of them either. Bodies. When you're done, join me in our ship. I'm going to make sure our cargo is. I already put out medical kit by the cryo bed in case he needs anything. When I went back to get the dissolver, I thought there was a chance he'd be critical. I didn't want you to waste time getting the kit. I didn't like that Alex had spent. He had no way of knowing how long for the prisoners to follow him. But clearly Alex had hurried. The medical kit could come in handy. Still had this bit of thinking about the well-being of others. He picked up his quarry and carried him through the long tunnel that the hangar. It was dark, carved out of the rock itself, and other than the support beam sure it didn't collapse, nothing had been done to look like anything other than a mine. It was so old that you could tell that done the mining machine. Tell that people had done the mining instead of the machine. It was too irregular, and tools had left marks in the rock. The hangar was another cavern, unnatural as far as I could tell. The only reshaping had leveled the floor. Three ships were there, two small ones, barely able to house the 7 people working among them, and his ship. It was a converted leisure yacht that could house 2 full families. It had belonged to a bounty hunter. Scared, Space Gov had annulled the bounty on the kidnapping. Had kept the ship, spent the time needed to fix it up, upgraded the weapons the bounty hunter had installed, and decided that now that Alex was traveling with him, something more spacious made sense. It also had a more recent computer, and he'd supervise Alex as he brought it under control. Laid the old man on the ramp, checked him again to make sure he wasn't in danger of dying, and ship. He hadn't been able to lock it as he preferred since the line involved Alex getting. But the short amount of time they'd been here, and Alex confirmed no one had left the area, was confident to wait to decide until his inspection confirmed nothing had been added to the ship. Everyone might have been in the room, but a place as ancient as this one could have remote bots programmed to add trackers to ship. He picked up the man and entered. Past the locker holding his and Alex's EPA suit, the oxygen tank, the lounge, the kitchen to the first live room. The only un. Alex had suggested keeping it in case of they had passengers. He had no use for it. Al hadn't. He laid the old man on the bed and took the portable scanner from the kit. The man was in bad shape, nourished, failing in some internal infection. He wouldn't have lasted much longer. Being boosted, that wouldn't save him. He needed a full body flush, half of his organs regrown, and probably get his mind rewired. Nothing Tristan could do here. Things this have was a medical. The previous owner had removed it to make space for more capacitors for the weapon system. Tristan hadn't had a chance to get a new one. Been taking Alex on mission after mission. Weapon. Fortunately for the old man, what Tristan had made sure was on the ship was a cryofield, so he didn't have to worry about deteriorating while he traveled. He activated the system, rods raised at the corner of the of the bed. There was a flash of bluish static, and the old man was still as death. Thought of it, he'd be their client's responsibility. He put the scanner back in the pack and stored that back in its locker. Another locker he took what he needed and went back around the other ship. He set them by the engines or power generator, and he didn't want anyone who might have survived the grenade to make it off the planet. The ship, he heard the shower going in Alex's room. The yacht was luxurious enough to have a water system. Alex enjoyed it. He entered the room, took off his shower. Water was pleasant. Alex startled, but before he could strike, Tristan was holding his arm. Didn't say anything. Held Alex against him and let him feel his. Alex relaxed and used him. That was all he used him. It wasn't as rough as he'd been at the start of this arrangement because he didn't have to be anymore. He'd learned not to wait too long, not to wait until his desire for the human eroded his control. Now, as soon as he felt the desire, he human. He could go months before he needed to do. He wasn't driven by a need to satisfy such urges, and he'd satisfied them only months ago. Seeing Alex standing among the bodies, blood had something. Yes, that was the only reason he did. The last time had been a particularly intense training session where he'd pushed Alex to his limit and then fought the monster he became. Not taking a lot of control, Alex had come back to himself moaning and begging for more. The time before was because they'd almost died in a trap laid by their target. The adrenaline had made it impossible for Tristan. needed release, and Alex had been there. That moment of lost control had allowed the target to make it off planet, but Tristan cared. It eventually caught up to him and gotten paid. He held Alex, but that was just to keep him in place while he used him. He didn't see to Alex's pleasure, although his hands did move over Alex's abs. Worrying about his partner's pleasure was the mark of someone who cared and didn't. It was a tool, a weapon. Tristan used him as he saw fit. The human's moans and groans did something to him, making him faster. Alex enjoyed it this way. Had learned what Alex liked as a way of controlling him, making him react this way, doing this and pleasure from it. Getting his control over him in such primal way made this act much more enjoyable. Tristan didn't care that Alex enjoyed it, only that he was the one causing. When his climax came, Tristan held on to Alex tightly, letting the shudder pass. He continued holding Alex afterward. His control returned. When Tristan trusted his body to obey him, he left the human there and dried himself before back on getting back to work. Tristan was almost done checking the inside of the ship for any sign of tempering. Alex exited the shower. He always stayed in longer after Tristan. It took longer for Alex to regain control of himself than it did. Alex sat at the communication and the checks before taking the pilot seat and getting the ship ready. Take off. He didn't supervise Alex's. Alex had shown he could be trusted to do exactly and only what Tristan instructed him. And in return, 6 subjective months ago, Tristan had demonstrated his trust in Alex by replacing those earpieces. By replacing those earpieces, he could and had lost that time with an implant. Now, Alex's ability to coerce computer couldn't be taken away from him, not even by Tristan. The system's clean, Alex said. No one contacted it while we were out. No malicious programs are in it. Will the hangar door open, or do I need to blow it? It's on its own system, modern enough for ships to talk to it. It'll open. Tristan sent the instruction to the hangar door. Obeyed. He sent another command, and the ships exploded off. Tristan flew past the door and of the explosion, angled the ship up, and quickly enough the rocky ball that housed down below a now defunct trunk until it vanished. Let our client know we have the package and are on our way to the rendezvous. Alex set the work as Tristan entered the coordinates. Smiled to himself as the memory of how he made Alex moan bubbled up to this conclusion. Chapter 4 of Shattered Salvation. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next one is up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the book as well as the others in the series, they are available on all major e-retail. And if you want to support me, that's on my Patreon. And also get access to just about everything I have written. Listening to this is on Twitch every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. The links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.